sunshine. You got me in my feelings. You got me in my feelings.
Today I thought I'd take you through a quick edit to kind of give you a feel for what I look for in images and how I clean them up before I post them to either social media or create a print. In this picture here of Jessica Larson, the model wanted to do a suspension pose, and I wanted to do it outside, and once we kind of found an area that had a little bit of shadow, our next biggest problem was the fact that, we couldn't move a lot of things in the background, so I knew that in post I'd have to clean them up. And so the first thing that I wanted to do was to kind of expand the picture, give it a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more negative space. And in doing so, obviously, one of the first things I have to do is extend the rope. So I basically cloned the lower portion of the rope and kind of added it to the top. Then got rid of kind of the edges in order to make it look like it really was attached to the part of the rope that's real. The next thing that I always try to do is I try to take a look at the overall pose, and I'll make any changes to the shape of the leg or the shape of the foot in order to make it look a little bit more artistic. Obviously I could have done it at the shoot, but the ropes were not that comfortable, and I felt that rather than trying to torture her while she was suspended, it would be easier for me to go in and post and kind of make small subtle changes. And that's what you see right now, where I'm going through using the liquefying tool, and I'm not only changing the shape of the leg like I spoke about, I'm also making the arch of the back a little bit more elegant, go back in and kind of make sure that the lip shape is pleasing, because once again she is suspended upside down, as you can tell by her upside down earring. I wanted to give the chin a little bit more space between her shoulder in order to let a little bit more light in there. More aesthetics than anything else. I'll often go back and forth and check, and the reason I do that is because I don't want to overdo things, and by stopping every once in a while and kind of stepping back from it and making sure that I haven't altered the photo to the point where it's no longer her is very important. And looking at her hair, I thought to myself in hindsight, I wish that there was just more hair hanging in order to give more of a feeling of her dangling. So what I like to do is I like to use my clone tool and basically pick different selections of hair and basically just kind of paint it in by changing the width of the brush and then kind of using short strokes on my Wacom tablet in order to get the feel of kind of the individual follicles. You'd be surprised how easy it is and how quickly you kind of get used to the shape and the feel of human hair. The biggest thing is that you don't have to get it spot on perfect, because once again you can always go back into the liquefy tool and kind of shape the hair in order to make it a little bit more voluminous, make it look a little bit bigger or rounder or puffier. And that's exactly what I did here. And so, now that I'm satisfied with both the shape of the hair, now we gotta kind of go back in there and clean up the mess or disguise the fact that you went in there and kind of made changes. So I'll go up there, and once again I use my cloning tool to kind of grab different portions of the picture that have very similar aspects, a very similar print, and I'll go back in there and just kind of clone those pieces in order to mask that I made those changes. The next thing that I like to do is then switch over to my patch tool, and that's what I use to get rid of all blemishes. And so as you can see, we sped this up. I didn't want you to kind of go through the 20-minute process of me doing this, so we sped up I think by 8 times the editing process. But as you can see, I'll go around the body, I'll get rid of creases and blemishes and any other anomalies that kind of stand out or kind of take away from the overall picture. And all I'm basically doing is just grabbing different portions of the skin, or first of all identifying areas where I see a blemish, and then dragging that patch to an area that is blemish free in order to kind of clone or patch that portion of the skin. The next thing that I do after that is I have my own little set of adjustments that I make, and I've created them into kind of a little script. And when I hit the button, it automatically jumps in and launches my script. And what you're seeing right now is me going through and blending the skin. So anywhere where I see where there's blotches or any type of blotchiness on the skin, I'm basically going in there, and with that layer of the image already kind of gauzy and blurred, I'm going in there and I'm smoothing it. I'm basically saying, okay, go within this area and blur it so that way you don't see the individual blotches of skin. That way it looks smooth, which is really all that skin smoothing is doing when you're using it as a tool, say on your iPhone or in Photoshop. Once I'm done with that, I immediately move into dodging and burning, which at the end of the day is nothing more than adding three-dimensionality to the picture. You know, it is a 2D representation of a 3D image, and you've got to kind of coax the eye in order to bring out those areas so that way you lift them. I do one last final check, and then it's ready to go into Lightroom for color grading, and at that point the image is done.
Beautiful, keep walking. And then when you get to the edge, spread the arms as if you're peering out over that city. Lean into that city.